Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Julian here, aka Just Julian H. Don't forget the H. I'm on the Youngest in the Yacht Club podcast. We live.
This is how I live. Don't tell me what to do in my life. I just set up in 3 years. Don't touch 25 to life. On my grind. All the time. I got no time. I'm still on my grind. Nobody's
at a weight where we should be able to get 1 minute and get right back to it.
They want the money and fame. We go to the city and we don't be tucking our chain. Woke up in paradise and we live in the drain. I know it won't be the same. Someone lo puro cocaine. Fly Latino gang.
I used to dream of something like this. Remember times I was doing.
Youngest in the Yacht Club, I'm Vince Serrano. Super excited to bring my guy, one of my friends. He's also my trainer, Julian Hampton, man. How are you, brother?
What's good? What's good? Just happy to be here on the pod.
Yeah, man. Thank you, dog. Youngest in the Yacht Club. Happy to have you, bro. Man, this is your second time on here.
Yeah, second time.
Yes,
Unofficially.
Unofficially, you know.
Yeah.
Bro, it's dope to have you on here, man. We talked about, I want to get into some of the stuff that we talked about last time, but I think it's super important to kind of introduce who is Julian Hampton.
Yeah, definitely. So social media platforms at Just Julian H. Don't forget that H. But really, man, I'm your average guy, but I really just like to I'm a fitness specialist, wellness specialist, but I'm somebody who likes to just break down this whole fitness game and have it translate to the average person. I feel like in the fitness, wellness, and nutrition space, there's a lot of people out here who are putting out good information, but at the same time, a lot of people out here putting out deceptive information, or at the same time making the game too complicated, more complicated it has to be. So
For sure.
one of my main purposes and missions is to take what seems to be complicated, break it down so the average person can achieve what's possible for them.
Yeah, and that's a good thing that you talked about it, man. When you say deceptive information or information that's not correct, like, could you give me an example?
Yeah, not even so much as not correct, but a lot of times, you might see some of the quote-unquote influencers out here. If you ever see a post or a video or something that has 25 big words where it seems like they're talking in a completely different language.
Yeah.
If I'm the average person, I'm looking at that, that's unattractive. I don't want that person to coach me because we're not speaking the same language.
Big facts.
So for me, I might do that same post, but put it in everyday language that everybody can understand. Something, you don't think fitness is impossible, or you think you have to be so smart to, just to work out, to get in shape, things like that. So
For sure.
I started with not much information, not much knowledge. I've learned a lot over the years, but at the same time, I started with not a lot, and achieve what I wanted to. So I think everybody else can do the same thing.
Yeah, man. How long have you been a fitness guru, if you want to say?
So overall, it's been 9 years overall, and that's been a combination of part-time, combination of full-time, combination doing it on the side as a side hustle. Now something I do full-time, but overall, it's been 9 years.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. When you first started, how did you get into fitness? Like, how did that even come across?
Yeah, definitely. So for me personally, it was more so I grew up being pretty active. I grew up playing sports, things of that nature. In college, I played around working out, succeeded some, failed some. Wasn't necessarily, again, I didn't necessarily know what I was doing.
Right.
But I always was in the gym, around the culture at least. And then when I finished undergrad, just got more serious and was looking for the right formula, and just kind of slowly but surely just wanted to look and feel better. And at the same time, I was wanting to look and feel better. I was kind of getting more out of shape as time goes on because I wasn't doing the right things when it comes to lifestyle habits, taking care of my body, getting rest, eating the right stuff. So I was getting more out of shape. So I just wanted the right formula. So eventually kind of found what that mix was, found out the right combination of things to do. And then I had some buddies who were also doing it on a professional level, who were as a side hustle, were training people, were coaching people, things of that nature. So I saw myself kind of doing the same thing they were doing. So started off real part-time on the side. I was working full-time, and that's kind of how the coaching came in for me. So
That's fine.
kind of got in shape first myself, found that right mix, and then start coaching other people.
That's cool, man.
Real part-time.
What do you say one of the biggest things that you've learned on your journey? Like, what would you say is like one of the things that really takes, like, you really take to heart, like the big gem on that part?
Well, one thing, first thing jumps out to mind is, so I was telling you when I started, I just wanted to get in shape, right? Like I had like my goals were all about vanity. It was like, hey, I lived in Miami back then. I just want to be able to go to South Beach, take my shirt off, and feel good about myself. I wanted some abs. Like that was like literally it. I was doing 25, 35, 40, 50 sit-ups at a time trying to get abs. So that was my only goal. It was vanity. Fast forward now, and I realize, especially after the pandemic hit a couple years ago, was the reason I do this now is not even for all that. Like it's more for mental health. It's more so as a stress reliever, more so to just stay sane. You know, especially the older we get, I feel like you just feel so much better when you're taking care of your body, when you're active, when you're exercising, when you're doing those type of things. It just gets more and more valuable.
Right.
Younger me, like I didn't care about none of that. Younger me, I just wanted to look good. I wanted to be able, just to show off all that good stuff. But then I got older, my goals matured more. So I'd say the biggest thing to me is just a lot of times what gets us in it is kind of those vanity goals, and that's okay.
Right.
But then what keeps you in it is like really just the long-term benefits of just being healthy.
That's fire. That's fire. Yo, let me get a little bit more into this. Are you from Miami or are you from someplace else?
Born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee, in the South, dirty South.
Okay.
Lived in Miami 9 years and then come up to Tampa.
Okay.
It's been about 8 years now.
Wow, man. You've been making it happen, right?
Yeah, moving around a little bit.
What's the difference? What was your upbringing growing up? Like, a little bit more about you. I know we get into the fitness stuff and and the training, but what about you? Like, who is Julian Hampton? Like, how'd you come up?
So Memphis, Tennessee. Tennessee. Memphis is like a mini Atlanta. I always tell people. Like, you ever been in Atlanta? Mostly black people, but it's smaller. It's not quite as big as Atlanta, but it's like little pockets of culture, things to do. Music scene is real big in the history in Memphis. Of course, when I was younger in middle school, we got the Memphis Grizzlies. So basketball team started off on the bottom. They on the top now.
Yeah,
so I feel like that's kind of how the Memphis attitude is. It's like it's people that's willing to hustle. We're not necessarily giving the most, but I don't know. Being from Memphis, it's like a certain hustle that you have. It's good and bad to that.
Right.
That we can get into that too.
Yeah.
But kind of if I could take one thing from my upbringing is it's just that spirit of that Memphis kind of hustle. Like, we're willing to get it out the mud, do whatever it takes. And, if you can channel that into a positive outlet, then sky's the limit.
That's fire. That's fire. Do you think you still have that Memphis in you sometimes? Like, you see that?
Oh yeah, definitely. And like I said, I try to take that going to Miami. So Miami's way different, obviously. But I think just growing up the way I grew up and seeing what I saw, like, I mean, I'm not like going to say I'm just grew up like on the block or anything like that. But
right.
I mean, the block wasn't far from where
right.
I grew up.
You saw to stay away from.
I know what to stay away from.
Right.
And, all that. So I think it did give me a good awareness of like, how to stay balanced, how to stay even keel, what not to do, what not to get involved with. Because I saw people I grew up with, even family members I grew up with, get into like the wrong routes and the wrong avenues.
Yeah, and so that kind of like guided you to have more for yourself or want better, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
That's fire. That's fire. And so you went to Miami. You go to UM, University of Miami.
To you.
Okay. And then hey, yeah, there's like a pride for sure in college, right?
Yeah.
How was the college lifestyle when you were there? Like, was it like, when you go, like, I went to a small college, right? So it was different. Like the population of the city was like 10,000 people, and the college was like 5,000 people. So it's different. But how was it going to college, like, for you during that time?
It was Miami's interesting because it's not a college town by any means, but it's kind of a small school, really.
Right.
I think it's only like 10,000. It's like the student population.
Right.
But it's definitely like you do have a different type of a swagger that you get from going to the U. So it's really, you have that, even though you're at a small school. And I really didn't realize that until afterward. I was like, we talk all this stuff. We're really kind of a smaller school. But hey, it's just inherent. And then when I went, it was actually right after like kind of the glory days. So we got spanked a lot in football. Can't even lie.
Right.
We weren't the best in my years there. We had like one good year, but we still just had that pride, had that swagger. Like, hey, we still, even though we're not on top,
right,
we still got it in here.
Yeah, so it's still there.
That's really the best way I can describe what it's like going to the U and my time there.
Did you graduate from Miami?
Yeah.
What did you graduate with?
Majored in communication, double majored in public relations and computer science.
Oh, that's fire. Are you using that now?
Nope. Not at all.
What made you want to get into the? What made you want to get into those though?
Man, that's a long story, but really, I kind of grew up a video game nerd, so I always saw myself programming video games as something I wanted to do. Got into computer science and realized, nah, this not for me. It was too antisocial. It was too nerdy. I was like a little bit of a nerd, but I wasn't that much of a nerd.
Right. You got the love for it, but it's not all the way.
Yeah. I could have made a great living, but I wanted something more involved with people. So that led me to public relations and communication, and then from there I wanted to go into sports marketing, sports PR. Kind of had dabbled a little bit into that, got some internships, things like that, but just never panned out the way the job market was at the time. And I think it was for the best, honestly, because loving what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And I can't see myself doing anything else. So I think it worked out for the best.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. All right, so let's talk about entrepreneurship, because the youngest in the Yacht Club, right? Yes, you saw about the way the economy was and things panning out. What drove you to becoming your own boss, your own personal fitness monster, I guess?
Yeah. I think really it was kind of like a combination of what we were talking about, just kind of that attitude of like that hustle. Growing up in Memphis wasn't a lot of opportunities that were open for me. Like I said, and the things I majored in, but at the same time, doors were closing. And it sucked at the time, but my attitude was just, I didn't want to take no for an answer. My mindset was I want to make a way somehow, some way. And being smart about it, obviously, took jobs to pay the bills. And kind of when this whole fitness thing came about, started doing that on the side. And it was a gradual thing in a way. But one thing that kind of changed the game for me, I was unemployed. This was back 2013. Was with a small sports agency. Company shut down. And as I'm unemployed for however long, 6 months or so, I'm really just rediscovering the game plan, going back to the drawing board, figuring out a whole new way. Okay, this whole go to college, get a job, the traditional route is not working out for me. What can I do in the meantime? That's what I read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and that changed my whole mindset of what it could be like if I were to find an untraditional way, if I were to find some way to start a business or to be self-employed or to invest, because these things, they don't teach you about in college.
Right.
They don't teach you about in school. Growing up, all you know is get a job, work for a company for 40 years. After you go to school, you make good grades. And that's all I knew. That's the path I was on. And that path wasn't working out. So, the options are pretty simple to me. It's either I keep trying here or I could try something different. Or you could try to, do something that's a hybrid, kind of go in between, find side hustles, things like that. That's a good way too.
Right.
But for me, it was kind of being at the bottom and having to go back to the drawing board. And I said, hey, I want to go, let's see what this entrepreneurship thing is all about. Try to be my own boss eventually, even though that may not happen overnight, and then go from there, see what happens.
That's fire, man. That's fire. And so what kind of, what path did you take? Like, what was the first thing that you did to get on that mission?
So I'd say, well, for me and unemployed, I needed money to pay rent. So I did go get a job.
You need that.
I need to pay rent. But at the same time, my mindset was so different when I took my next job, which was, being a manager in retail. Because before I was thinking like all my eggs were in my job basket. It was like, hey, I'm trying to get promoted at my company. That's all I'm doing, all I'm focused on. And my mindset then when I got out of unemployment was, hey, I'm going to work hard at my job, but at the same time, I'm going to start seeing how I can start investing, how I can build my own business on the side in my pockets of time and build a side hustle that eventually can make money that ideally can one day replace what I'm making at my job. So just the mindset was just so different. So I started just poking around, looking at real estate, looking at the stock market, looking at different ways to start a business. I found out about something called network marketing, which was basically how you could start a side hustle and kind of just use what you have, not have to invest a lot of money up front. And that ended up being the answer for me. But it was really just kind of just being willing to have that different mindset and see what the options are.
That's awesome. So do you still use the network marketing like model or business?
Yeah, to this day.
Yeah, which one? What's it called?
So Herbalife Nutrition.
Awesome.
That's what helped me get in shape as far as nutrition. Working out was no problem for me, but it opened the door for me for nutrition and coaching, things like that.
And do you believe in it? Did you believe in it still? You obviously used it today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did that work out for you? Like,
so for me, like I said, I was stubborn when it came to eating and nutrition. Working out was no problem for me, but it really simplified the game first, and me like kind of getting into better shape. nutrition was simple. It was easy to stick to. Plus, I saw the people getting good results also.
Wow.
So for me, being a stubborn, typical guy, when I saw that, I was okay. Maybe I should listen to what they're saying.
Right.
So got in shape myself, and then like I said, when I was working full time in retail back then, and as a manager, people were noticing that I was getting in better shape, and people started to kind of ask me what I was doing. So it kind of happened organically as far as that business I was looking for, being able to start kind of part time coach other people up to do the same thing I was doing.
Wow, that's awesome. And so that you were able to, so you were getting in shape. You were working, getting in shape, and using Herbalife to help you do it.
Yeah.
People were asking you about it, and then that's kind of like it clicked.
Yeah. The kind of happened organically, and then I said, okay, I kind of like this. I can see myself coaching people. I've always liked being active, sports, fitness. Like I can see myself coaching people. Maybe that can be the business I'm looking for. So it kind of clicked.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so then, how did you transition out of working a 9 to 5 into your business?
Yeah. So really, COVID. Short answer.
Okay.
So, COVID came. Man, things happened real fast. But the store I was at the time was going to close already. But COVID just expedited that process. They furloughed everybody that was at the store when COVID came. Actually, the whole company furloughed a bunch of people, and I was one of those people that got furloughed.
Wow.
So when COVID happened, we're at home. I'm kind of working on some things business-wise, and it started going well. So then when they called back, when things kind of slowed down a little bit with COVID to bring us back in, I was able to tell them that, nah, I think I'm good. I'm going to just stay doing what I'm doing and kind of figure things out along the way.
Wow, that's awesome. And so how have things been? Obviously, COVID, is passing. The pandemic, the more serious parts of the pandemic have been passing. Where are you at right now in your business? Like as far as business going, like what you were able to transition and then how did you get more clients? Like how did you start, seeing that, and where have you been seeing like the successes at?
Yeah. So man, COVID is so interesting. It's definitely, I think everybody's had their own stories.
Yeah.
For me personally, business wise, it was like, there was this, and then I'm being transparent. There was like this boom of like people wanting everything online. That's all we could do back then.
Yeah.
So like that's like popping off at 2020, right?
Right.
Started to slow down a little bit, like within the next year or so. At the same time, I have to like obviously got to keep the business going.
Yeah.
There's ups and downs with any business. So then I started taking on more in-person things, doing personal training, which I was kind of doing a little bit here and there.
Right.
And still, like to this day, still trying to find that right balance. Online programs, in-person things, group workouts, all that kind of good stuff. But really, I guess the short answer is there's been ups and downs, just like any business, and still figuring it out. But right now, I do feel good about where things are. I feel like I have the pieces and still, just like anybody, working on putting them all together. But I feel like got a really good feeling about this year, 2023, being that year that everything kind of clicks.
That's awesome.
Because the past few years it's been some online spikes, some in-person spikes, some down here, down there, and then it's all like up and down, right? Just like any business. But I feel like the pieces are there. I have a good feeling about that, and we're just working.
So what do you see next for Julian Hampton? Where do you see yourself and your business going?
For me, man, sky's the limit.
Yeah.
to be short, what I'm trying to do is just expand, continue growing, not only my personal clients, but just people I'm educating to do what I'm doing. There's some things we have in place that can help other people coach online if they want to do that, or in person, like training people, group workouts. So that's what I mean when I say like I have these pieces together, and we're just trying to basically fill those pipelines up with people who basically interested in what I'm doing.
Yeah.
We've got some on the team now, but then we're just trying to keep that growing.
When you say the educational piece, I'm seeing online, man, and I'm actually helping you with it with these quick hitters, man, with the educational pieces of us asking you questions and you kind of explaining those things. And I've seen a little bit of growth. Could you explain how that works? Like just those educational pieces and why you do them?
Yeah. And I think that's something we really have been good at and has been working for us. For my personal mission to, like I said, take this whole like fitness game, break it down, make it so not so complicated as it can seem sometimes, and just translate it to the average person. So for me, I've been loving kind of the track that we're on with that. I think that's kind of really shed some light or kind of become a niche for my own personal mantra.
Yeah.
So I've been loving it. I think we're on to the right track. So go check it out on my social media if you haven't. Just Julian H again. Don't forget the H. But on IG, TikTok, YouTube, we post these shorts, quick hitters we call them, and it's basically we're taking a topic and basically just in try to 30 seconds, ask me a question. I try to give a 30-second answer that's like going to be super simple to the point, and it's been working. We get some good feedback so far.
That's awesome.
And then also we're doing long form answers too. I do longer form YouTube videos as well to kind of give the long answers, but I'm trying to give the short answers as well.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I think seeing what you're doing, you know, across the platforms, the different ways that you're doing it, you're using social media to gain that expertise, and it's saturated sometimes, right? It can seem saturated in the fitness game because I feel like everybody's a fitness guru, right? Even people who don't even look like they're fitness, right? But when you see somebody like you, kind of coming with a different way, or you know, more your own, like you said, your own niche, it's exciting to see, man, because it's not overly you know, we don't see you with your shirt off all the time, right? We see you like, and you could do that. That's the crazy part. You could do that, but you keep it at a human level, and that's the part that I think that people connect with you, man. So
Yeah. I mean, we do that too. We can take the shirt off too.
Hey,
Man, that's what I wanted originally. So,
Right.
so that's hey, I want that confidence too now. So every now and then you might get a little bit of that.
yeah,
But at the same time, you're like, I'm trying to stand out from the rest of the crowd, kind of like you were saying. Like everybody's giving you half naked pictures all across the IG and all that. And hey, if you want to see that, that's great too. But it's probably other places you can go see more of that.
Right.
I'm trying to give people the actual content. And I mean, personally, it's kind of like not off topic, but kind of on aside from all that. What I've learned too, being in this game for a while, is that if you want people to take you serious, and you know people are going to be serious clients, you gotta be aware of what you're putting out there.
That's awesome.
So if all I'm putting out there is shirt off pics, I might get some somebody who wants that,
Right.
But are they really going to be a serious either potential business partner or a client?
awesome.
So you got to ask yourself those questions as well, and that's advice to anybody in the fitness game. Think about those things when you're posting your content.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And here's the next part that I want to get to. With Youngest in the Yacht Club, right? What's the biggest gem that you could give to somebody or to yourself? Let's say to your past self. What's the biggest gem that you could give to your past self if you could look back and say, hey, look, this is a piece of advice I want to give to myself? What would you give?
A piece of advice to myself.
Yeah, younger self.
My younger self, I would say the biggest thing. I guess it's two-part.
Okay.
One, and I think one kind of happens. It's not really advice. It's just more so like a reminder to keep finding your passion. Keep searching for a way to make a living out of your passion. If that makes sense. I think that's something we kind of can forget, and something that sounds easy, and sometimes it may seem like it's a big challenge, but I feel like there's always a way. If you're
Right.
really serious about what you're doing, there's always a way, and it beats being unhappy. It beats questioning yourself or saying, hey, what if when I was younger I had to pursued, I don't know, being a movie director? What if I had to pursue being a pro athlete? If you really are serious about something, especially when you have the time, you won't regret things later. But as far as like one piece of advice I would say that I could have used, I would say just have more faith in the process. Like we all go through adversities, we all go through challenges. Sometimes life's gonna put us down, gonna kick our butt. But at the same time, still just have the faith and hang on to that faith that it's gonna work. And if you're putting in the work, if you're doing what you need to do, going all out, then it's got to work. It may not happen tomorrow, it may not happen next week, but eventually it's got to work. So I say just have even stronger. I say I'm pretty good, but I say I would double down on just that faith part and just that belief that things are gonna pan out.
Fire. Julian, man, will you let them know where the socials to meet you at again, so that way they know? Because I really like the way you say it too, man.
Definitely. Just Julian H. Don't forget that H. Just Julian H. So H is for Hampton, obviously my last name. But Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, all the platforms, we're on there. LinkedIn, everything.
It's awesome, man. Bro, thanks for being on Youngest in the Yacht Club, bro. I appreciate you, man. We definitely want to have you back for the third time.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir,
Keep it
bro.
going.
Appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.